Bill, hi, Chris, how's it going? Hello?
I got it. Hang on. You there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
How did we get connected for today's call?
Sorry.
How did we get connected for today's call?
Uh, just an email.
Oh, you guys got an email, or you got an email from us?
Yeah, it was a spam, or not spam. It was just it went in my clutter file, and I have another call scheduled for next Friday, and kind of went through and said I watched your video. I watched all the FAQs, watched the video, the 6 steps for onboarding. When you look at your pie chart, we're in the box of evaluating.
Okay.
So, I watched what I got first was watching from Tiffany tour, the gal from Carlsbad.
Yeah.
And my wife and I both watched that video.
Yeah.
To kind of assess. We've been doing it for 30 years, and you've heard it before, right? There's this kind of belief that we have to keep everything in the United States as CPAs because we're the trusted advisors and all that stuff. And Amex and every airline company and every other public company doesn't do it, and hard to find staff. And the cost, if you're billing out at $65 or $60 an hour for bookkeeping, that's a cost center. And so we're in the process of evaluating, and the whole new world out there. So
yeah, all in a moment's notice too. It was just like boom, change, transformation. Now it wasn't gradual, wasn't like at your pace. It was like, here you go, take it or leave it. And it's I've been doing this for 4 years, and this year has been big issues with staffing shortages. I mean, I have clients in the UK, Canada, and here. They all say the same thing. And I'm like, I thought I was like centralized in certain areas or certain cities, but it's everywhere. It's bizarre. I've never seen this in the last 4 years.
I've never seen it in 30 years.
Yeah, there you go. So
right. I would have never thought I would have this call this morning. So
I get it.
You've already gone through your stuff, and my wife will be joining us soon.
Sure.
But I'm going to get into some kind of high-level questions just right out of the gate. So
Sure.
let me tell you what our needs are, and that'll probably be the best way for compatibility purposes. It's evident that we've had a large firm, we've downsized to a small firm, and my wife and I are both CPAs. I'm a lawyer as well, and I find myself, I was doing bookkeeping last night, for crying out loud, for one of my clients.
Yeah, no.
Just because it needed to get done, I got to get a 9:15 return out, I got it done. So the level of documentation, repeatability documentation, it's not there right now. Why? Well, when you downsize and you do everything, I don't need to have a checklist to do a damn return. I've been doing it forever. So it looks to me that there's quite a bit of documentation that we'll have to do. And your point about kind of a fire drill, yesterday I was really upset, kind of like, holy cow, how do we do this? Overwhelmed, if you will. My wife just walked in. Here, we'll put the chair up here.
Yeah.
And
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Those.
If I don't put my glasses on, I can't see Chris. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there's the smarter one of the group.
All right, finally. No.
Yeah, you get the one right one of the family.
Nice to meet you. He was,
So as I was mentioned to Chris, Chris just mentioned to us that he's never seen growth like this ever. It's just blown up. And
Yeah, well, you can't get anybody to work. And then if you have people working, you can't get them to come to work.
it's weird, very weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, we went from kind of not, when pandemic happened, we hated the fact that our staff wasn't here. We still really don't like that. We like that alchemy in the office. But that ship has sailed, man. You better deal with it, because we're going to downsize our office because we don't need so many desks.
Yeah,
But
on overhead.
yeah, and you're seeing that in the marketplace. Is that just, I mean, we're no different than every call you have. I'm guessing it's the same kind of conversation every time, over and over again.
Let me paint the picture for you. So, as I mentioned to Bill, I've been doing this for 4 years. The company's been doing this for 8, right? And the whole point of me starting with this company is I'm not an accountant. You would not want to hire me. I mean, I would outsource it. I give it to my brilliant team in India. So I come from sales and marketing for about 18 years now across different industries. And within the accounting industry, I've worked remotely most of my career. And in the accounting industry, that word remote or virtual was like very, very terrifying. I mean, it wasn't like maybe, it was just an absolute no. And I started to understand why. But then with technology tools and resources, if you research and due diligence, you realize it's fine. Right. But no one was doing that. And the pandemic came and pushed everybody into that right away. So when I had a call 3-4 years ago, as soon as I said the word remote, a lot of times the call would just end and we were done. And I was like, okay. And then now, if I have a call in the UK or in Ontario or Saskatchewan or Mississauga or here in the United States, every single city, they are on the call because they can't find anybody. They're looking. They have been looking, whether it's weeks, months, or years, and they just can't find anybody. And it's been all year long. And so it's really bizarre. I've never seen this. And it's just been a fast shift.
What do you think?
Yeah, what's your tea leaf saying? I mean, this is a worldwide issue. Are we now dealing with, Les and I are a little older than the next crew. Is this new millennia kind of like, yeah, we're just going to have governments across the world just pay the fare, we're not going to work anymore? I mean, what's going on?
So there's a few things that I've noticed. One is recruiting. No one does recruiting. If I have 100 calls, right, and I've had 5,000-6,000 calls. If I have 100 calls, maybe 2 or 3, no more than 3 of those 100 calls are doing some type of recruiting, where they're hiring interns, they're working closely with college graduates, they're going to high schools, and they're making accounting a fun job, and they're promoting it, and people want to be an accountant. That's not happening. It's not happening at all. And so then when with the massive amount of student loan debt, graduates with no experience are outpricing themselves. If you have a budget in your mind for $22 an hour, they're coming in right out of college with no experience at $33 an hour. It's like a huge gap.
Yeah.
And
They
then
don't know how to do anything.
They don't know
how to do anything. That's what I mean.
That's what?
So we're training people from scratch is what we're doing. We're just hiring people with nothing.
And down, just so you know, Chris, and maybe you already know this about the CPA community. I worked at, both Leslie and I worked at Ernst & Young. The reason why small firms like us don't do the recruiting is one of 2 things happen. A, you invest the dollars and you hire somebody and you train them, and they'll either A, go on their own, or B, go to a competitor. And everybody's doing the same thing. Why? I'm not interested in running a school. And it takes about a year, because our firm, the way we're structured, we really don't make a lot of money until about a year out.
Okay.
So the onboarding process. So if you're going to invest $30,000 in an asset and get what, 2 years, maybe 3 years, one of our greatest hires ever out of college is now gone, and we're going, okay. So, and that's systemic. That's
Well, I thought that was interesting. So let's get back to talking about the integrity thing. Is that you sign a contract with them to stay with you for like 3 years? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, that's how we mitigate with the shortage. I mean, India is getting hit too. If we had a call 3 years ago, I could offer you 12 years of experience, but all that the ecosystem is fairly young in India, so all that top level talent 8+ has been scooped up.
Mhm.
And so it's a young ecosystem, but they're bright, they're smart, and they'll grow within the role. So what we do is, yeah, the big four, they pay $6-7 an hour in India, and that's still good money. Don't get me wrong. But however, we pay, our minimum rate is 10. So the associates are getting paid more. They have we have benefits for them, and then through their tenure, when they reach a certain time point, they are able to get benefits for their families, and then there's a sliding scale of compensation. So if they want to work for, and we're providing them work, they have to do nothing but interview and nail the interview. And so with that in mind, they signed the agreement with us once they get work. Yeah. And then our average tenure is about 5.4 years.
Oh, so average tenure is 5.4 years. Okay. So it's not a lot better than us. We usually run about
2 to 4.
5 years.
Yeah, 2 to 4.
Yeah.
But the cost has become kind of
Yeah.
really silly. One of the gates right out of the case. I have my questions here. Do you
Yeah.
handle how do you handle, or do you support seasonal hires?
Yeah.
Tax prep.
Seasonal is fine. Our vision, our goal is long term, right? No matter what. However, our number one requested service is tax. So we get that. And some firms we work with are tax only. And so what we do to mitigate that is a 9-week notice, 63-day notice. So for example, you can interview and hire, and they can start mid-February and end mid-April. You'd literally hire and then put in a notice, and then they would cease after 63 days, and you're not responsible. So you can do that.
63-day note. 63-day notice. Okay.
Yep, that's the only agreement with integrity with any of our associates. Okay, it goes month to month. There's no cost or obligation to interview, and then once they're working for you, at any point in time, 63-day notice.
Okay, so we can go January. Okay, all right. So if we wanted to, we go January. All right.
Let's let him talk.
I got questions for him.
Oh, well, he hasn't talked yet.
I've watched the video.
Okay.
I mean, their video. I do want to know, how do you, I'd love to figure out how you set it up where your email goes out, prompts you into the calendar format, and then prompts you directly into the video. That's really
Calendly.
The whole thing. The whole thing.
Calendly, and then we use Outlook.
Yeah.
And then they have an integration, and so yeah, it creates magic. And then my team in India I just give them the video, and they post it on there. That's how it works.
Pretty remarkable.
When you do that presentation 2,000-3,000 times, you get to a point where it's like, how can we stop having me do the presentation? Because I review my video and I get monotonous, and sometimes I'm not even paying attention. So that's why. So then this is more fun for me to answer direct questions. So, or give ideas, best practices. Yeah.
So you mentioned that your firm does evaluation tests, but then it says that, the founder mentioned one of the 6 steps, you need to have an evaluation test that's no longer than 2 hours. I'm not a professor. I don't want to be doing that. What have you found in the marketplace? I mean, we're a tax and accounting principally. I do some legal work, estate planning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you have kind of template forms on evaluation tests? Because one of the things Leslie and I are looking at is, can you do a doggone bank rec on QuickBooks? I mean, just low-hanging fruit stuff. Yep. And it's amazing how many people can't do a damn bank rec. So.
Yep. So that's what I mean. You can for a tax return, you give us the financials and last year's return, and we'll produce the return for you. You review it, everything's good. Then you hire. So
to go through that process, we have a candidate that we like. We then redact the name and social security number and send it to them as if they're a preparer. Say, do the return.
Yeah. And the reason why is this, okay, is every time I have a call, if I have 10 calls, 9.9, they're hesitant, they're nervous, everything's remote. They're still trying to get comfortable with this. And so I could tell you all day long, right? Our associates are pre-screen vetted, background check, skills, software aptitude, English speaking, English writing skills. But a lot of times that doesn't set in with the client. So that's why we say, you test them. Okay, so that's why we have no obligation or cost for our interview. We're very confident in our associates. However, we want you to be confident too. So we'll present them to you. And then, yes, just as you said, we don't have any templates. We'll just administer it the way that you want. But we encourage you to do that so you can gauge their competency on your own. Because it gets lost. It gets lost somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's,
So it seems like there's a lot of companies that are working in this space that you're working in, outsourcing employees from India to do.
There is, yeah, no, this concept's 30 years old. It's nothing new, but during that 30 years, it's created a robust ecosystem. And right now it's very young because all the top level talent has been taken by all the top 100 firms in the big four. So there's definitely a lot of talent out there.
Mhm. So the big four is doing a lot of this, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's where we source from. And there's a lot of American firms, a lot of American companies out there. If you go to Hyderabad, Amazon, Salesforce, and they have exquisite offices. I mean, I've been to Ahmedabad, which is about 5 hours south of Hyderabad. And I mean, these offices are sick. I live in New York City, so there's some pretty, buildings and architecture here, but in India too, it's very impressive. People just don't realize the talent out there that's been established. I mean, they are smart. They know what they're doing, and they're prior to the pandemic, I think they were the fastest growing economy at this time. I mean, they're getting it. They got it, and they got the resources, and they're taking off.
Wow.
okay. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we're kind of in that pie chart of 22 or 18% of evaluation, trying to.
Yeah.
What guidance? I mean, kind of jumping in the deep side of the pool right now.
Oh yeah.
We have two needs. We already identified the clients that we think would work for an accounting platform, and which would be a full-time employee.
Okay.
And then the other one would be more like a
seasonal,
but if the person's a rock star, we might. Have you found that the tax seasonal people transition to accounting? I mean, or are you finding they're fairly siloed? They're a tax person, they're really good, and they go to accounting.
Yeah, it could be a mixture of both. So what I'll tell you is the segmented, accounting, assurance, audit, tax, right? However, there's many tax associates that we have are comfortable doing bookkeeping, and there are many who will not do bookkeeping. And same thing with accounting. There's some that are just really strong accountants. There's some that understand accounting. That's it for the taxes. So I'm just setting expectations. It could be hit or miss. How do you get in front of those types of people is writing it down in your interview form, right? I always say to clients, have mandatory, like, I don't want to talk to somebody unless they have this, right? Be realistic, but unless they have this. But however, then have the preferred, and the preferred, you're thinking this as a year-round solution. So the bookkeeping or accounting is something else. And you'll get 3 to 5 resumes, but heck, 1 or 2 may have both your mandatory and your preferred. You may lean towards interviewing them to keep them on year round. All right.
So do your tax preparers do individual and business, or are they individual and then the other person does business?
Juniors 1 to 2 years of experience think of it as one facet, just individual or just business. Mid-senior, you can combine it. All right. So they may be stronger in one than the other, but they have worked in both, like an S Corp, C Corp, and a 1040 and Schedule C. But that would be a mid-senior, and a senior with us is simply 5 years max. That's all we have right now. And that would be, but it'd be 5 years of reviewing or managing experience.
And that includes individual and business returns.
Correct.
So you said the 5-year experience level is a reviewer, not a preparer.
Correct, right. It goes 1 to 2 and then 3 to 5, like 4.9, and then 5. So 3 to 5 mid-senior can do individual and biz returns for you. But maybe, that's why I said, maybe some bookkeeping, maybe some other accounting work. But they get the tax, yes.
Okay. So then I guess I'm trying to figure out timeline, and we have a need that's got to be filled, and it's not necessarily today, but January 1st is going to be here tomorrow.
Right?
And so what, so I don't think we need a reviewer at the present time, but we'll need a prepper. So what should we do as a firm? We're in the evaluation. We're trying to figure out, do we put our toe in today, or are we going to do it next year?
Yeah.
What can we do to arm ourselves? Because I'm looking at this going, how do I get over this mountain?
Yeah, sure. So right now, tell me a little more about your firm. I mean, how many staff you have? Is it just you two? Do you have a team in place? Can you tell me a little bit more of the day-to-day?
So Leslie and I are, but as I mentioned, we're both CPAs, about 30 years in the business. We've downsized. We have 5 employees.
5. Okay.
We have last season we
just lost a really good one actually. So we're down to 5.
Yeah.
What was, if you don't mind me asking, what was the reason they left?
Her mom has a tax firm, and her mom had double hip replacement. She went to work with her mom.
Oh
Yeah.
Great, and you know what?
Yeah.
She still works with us right
Still
now
does some stuff remotely.
on an
So
independent
we have
contract.
like 5.5 people. So.
that's good.
And,
All right.
I mean, she went to work for her mom. I couldn't fault her for that one.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. All right.
But
So
yeah,
5
small firm.
employees.
Yeah.
You just lost one. Okay. And they're all full-time, part-time? Are they doing bookkeeping, accounting, tax? Are you guys doing an advisory?
So we have, presently we have one kind of silos, one person, put her in the bucket of tax prep and tax notices, because God knows we have more tax notices now than ever before.
Right.
So we have a lot of template letters that she responds to that. So that's kind of her bailiwick.
Yeah.
The other person that has recently left to go work with her mom, she was our tax preparer. I mean, I think she touched 70% of every individual return and did them quite fast. And then we have a third person that we've just brought on recently that is taking on more accounting, no tax work right now, and some admin. And we have another person that she's kind of in that same platform, some admin work, and then
Bookkeeping and admin. So we have 2 doing bookkeeping and admin, and we have another one that's remote in Hawaii, and she's doing primarily all nonprofits. And so her husband got MS, and he went into remission a lot more readily whenever they were in Hawaii. So they moved to Hawaii. So she still works from us, but she's remote from us.
Yeah, so she's been working in Hawaii for the last 2 years. So
yeah.
Setting up a VPN connection or anything like that, that's all.
Yeah,
that's my next question. Okay. Have you guys worked with a remote employee? Check. Okay.
Yeah.
So the setup's the same. All right. You tell us how you want that done. We'll get it done on our side. We do not store data. We have no softwares on our computer. So you're responsible to set it up.
So one of the things from a compliance standpoint, I got to double check ethically. I think we have to change our engagement letter to alert our clients that their documentation may be reviewed or prepared offshore, correct?
So with regards to just 1040s, that's it. Yeah. Because so you're contracting us. We're an American-based company. All right. Yes, our associates are in India, but we're an American-based company. And there's no data that goes overseas or files that go overseas, and back and forth data transfer. Right. So in that aspect, whatever you're doing now, as far as disclosures, we fall into. However, when it comes to 1040s, the sensitivity of the social, yes. And that's it. So what we've done internally is we've come up with general disclosure guidelines, and I'll send that over to you. So it gives you an idea, and that it's relevance for what to put into the engagement letter.
So you mentioned setting up the VPN connection through you. So help me understand that. So we do the VPN through Integrity, and then you have your own portal that's going from India to Integrity. So you are the hub. You're kind of kind of a go-between to get to access to our
Right.
server.
Right. So let's say you had a web-based software, web-based program. So all I need is a login, and I could just log into my phone right now, right? So with any web-based program, the setup is like this in general. From our computers, which are logged onto our network, then they could log on to the client's network, and it's done with our IT team. It's not done with the associate. So, and we do not allow work from home policy. And so if they were to work from home, to put things in perspective, we have to carry the computer over to their house to set it up, to get it onto our network so they could begin clients' work. So that's how it's done. But you guys tell us how you want it, and our IT team will set up. So the associates don't have any the passwords or access, because it's all set up on the computer and they work from the same computer.
So they're working in India. Are they working in an office, or are they working from home?
No, office. I'll show you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, we do virtual tours. If you guys want to see it, let me know.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
set
see
that
it.
up.
I'd love to
So
see it.
I will reach out to my team. It's usually anywhere between 11 and 2 Eastern. You guys are Pacific?
Yep.
So
So 11 is 8 o'clock in the morning.
So 8 and +4, 8 and 12 Pacific.
12, yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
let me know and I'll set that up. And then we do this on Zoom. We use Zoom as a company as well, but however you want to speak, since we're in this topics, however you want to speak with your remote employee in India is fine. Zoom, Teams, Skype, Slack, Blue Jeans, whatever you're doing now. The idea is that we're just giving you staff. That's it. So there's nothing that we're trying to have you change. They're our staff. You're contracting us, paying us. They're our staff that we're giving you access to, but it's your workflow process, checklist, time tracking, everything.
It's really no different than our model. We have back office support for clients that are our staff, and then we use those staff where we do 100. I mean, we've done, like I said, we had 16 employees a couple of years ago, and we were the back office for 33 countries. So yeah, that we get your model in.
Perfect.
So you said 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. is when they're going to be working. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Pacific.
Is that Eastern time?
That's Eastern time or Pacific Standard?
It's within the client's time zone. So Pacific
Okay.
for you.
Okay, great.
You have overlap. Yep.
How long have you found, kind of in general, small firms like us that probably don't have the, by choice, the documentation / infrastructure bureaucracy crap that is aligned with, back in the Big 4 days?
Yeah.
How long does it take to onboard? You got 3 or 4 different candidates, you got 1 to 2 interviews, you go through the testing. What have you found in the market? Is a 30-day, 60-day, 2 week? What do you see on that timing?
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So you put we got off into some other topics, but you had mentioned January 1st. Like, what do we do? When do we start? So this second, our interview process is 1 to 2 weeks. All right. And so once we receive your interview form, then you're introduced to the team in India. And then at that point, 1 to 2 weeks. And that's sourcing resumes, setting up your interviews, and then you interview them and we go from there. Right? Whether you're doing a second round, you're doing any testing, you don't like anybody, you want another round of candidates. So that's why that's 1 to 2 weeks. Now the onboarding. So the onboarding, I mean, that could range from literally 1 week to 3 months, because you're trying to build this out and interview and hire associates, it's going to take months for sure. If you have everything in place and you just need the staff to just, kind of plug and play, this could be a week or 2. Okay, so a good rule of thumb right now is 3 to 5 weeks, including the interview, onboarding, and working closely. In 3 to 5 weeks, you're able to gauge, wow, this is going really well, or wow, this is not going really well. And then what do you do in that point? You let our account manager, who you meet after you interview and hire, you let your account manager know that. And you let them know either way. Always keep the lines of communication open.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What tell me quickly, tell me why the firm just fails miserably on this type of
Workflow, the workflow process, and they're not working closely with them in the beginning. they get excited, clients get excited, and they find talent, and they hire, they interview them, and then they're excited, and then they hire, and then they forget. They just think that because they're so smart that everything's just going to fall into place. Everything falls apart. Trying to reach out to them or trying to connect, and then when they're finally ready, they're already behind, and then their frustration builds, and then so communication and workflow process is where this starts getting really rocky. I always set the expectation. You have to understand, like, yes, they're smart, they're experienced, but you have to set up the access. You have to show them what work they're going to be doing. Like they don't know what work that needs to be done, right? You have to tell them. So that means you have to work closely with them in the beginning. But once that's in place and you have everything outlined and you have your weekly or biweekly or however your touch points for the month, however that's set up, then this takes off. But that first 3 to 5 weeks is pivotal, right? Of working with them. If you forget about that 3 to 5 weeks becomes 5 to 10. And that's where I see it is clients get sucked into the interview and then forget. And then it just and it never takes off because they don't allocate time.
So
the employees that we're hiring, are those people that you already have on staff oftentimes, or is it a combination of new people and people that are on staff? Okay.
Both, yeah. It could be we're year round, and we've added as much staff. I think it was 18 months, and we added as much staff in 18 months as we have in the first 6.5 years of this company. Wow. That's how the demand has gone. So it could be either or.
Yeah. So going to communication/workflow process. We've gone through the candidate, you're our candidate, and now we got to train you. So you mentioned that we're doing a VPN connection through Integrity, and then Integrity is going to our new candidate. So now we've got a Zoom call that's at 3 a.m. local time. So I do a Zoom call for training on QuickBooks at 5 a.m. I do the Zoom, I send an email to her or him. Now I'm doing a share screen off my computer, and if I'm wanting that individual, they're going to go through your database, your server, then from your server to our server to access our file, and then they can look at what we're looking at, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to get up at 3 a.m. We can do this at 8 in the beginning if you want.
I'm just trying
FYI, but other than that, you're spot on.
Exactly. Okay, I just want to logistically just kind of, because that's the thing, the lesson I'm talking about, it seems like the workflow process is the critical piece, but if we've got, she's a fantastic teacher, so as long as we have the ability, we already do this with our people in Hawaii and outsource, so this is not really any different.
So it could be you could be right in that general time frame or even sooner, right? But I like to say, I guarantee our interview process 1-2 weeks, but the clients, I mean, like I said, 1 week to 3 months, because we've seen all that.
Okay.
Your interview, say that again, your interview process is 1 to 2 weeks?
1 to 2 weeks right now.
And then 3
1 to 2 weeks just for interviewing. That's resumes, getting you the interview dates, and then going at your pace, whether you want testing or second round. Come what month are we in? September. So come in about a month and a half, that'll be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And then in 2.5 months from now, it could be a month just for our process. So essentially, the longer you wait, the longer our process is.
So because we really should start getting
the sooner or later. And you can have a start date confirmed max 60 days out. So if everything goes great and you hire somebody in the next 2 weeks, but it's like, shoot, we're not ready yet, you can onboard them 60 days out. Okay.
Oh, okay. So
max,
that goes October 15th almost. I mean, we don't have that many October 15s, right?
Not that many, but we can start throwing a couple sample returns and let them.
So really what we would be looking for would be a full-time bookkeeper that would also be able, do you have any that do nonprofits, or that's not a thing with you guys?
A bookkeeper with nonprofit experience, I can check specifically. I want to say yes, but it's not a confident yes, but I want to say yes, but I'll let you know.
It's not that.
It
big of a
is,
thing.
for whatever reason, well, I know it happened. There was a nonprofit kind of accountant here locally in Corvallis that basically retired and didn't sell the practice. And because Les had quite a bit of nonprofit experience, and I wrote a manual on it, we now have become more and more the chosen. So we didn't know, we're kind of in that ballpark right now of, do we want to grow our practice again?
We
Or
probably turn down 5 clients a day.
What? Oh my
Yeah.
God, no, don't do that.
Yeah, we're
Dude,
turning down like 5 clients a day, typically tax clients.
during the tax season, oh yeah, at least 5 clients a
Well,
day.
right
during tax
now, we're turning down at least like 2 to 3 a day.
Right. But so that, as I'm looking at my notes in here, you guys have bookkeepers and admin. Could they do taxes? Like, if you hired a bookkeeper offshore that could work for you 3 a.m. and get all this stuff done? That's the thing. You have to identify the most pressing need and where you want to go with the firm, your vision,
I
right?
want them to
And
do taxes. I think
we'll
we
give you
can
the staff.
agree
If you
on
want
that right
tax, give you the tax. You want the bookkeeper, we'll give you the bookkeeper. And you could add staff and a gradual approach, assisting and working closely with your local team, right? You saw the Tiffany tour story. That story is great. You know, I called them for 1 year. I called him every month for 1 year, and he finally took my call. And so
What's so funny is our firm was in Carlsbad.
Well, yeah, we were in Carlsbad, and
We
that's
moved
actually-
16
I called you a few years ago.
16 years ago, we moved from Carlsbad to Corvallis.
and he always goes, let's try this, and I'm like, no, we need to stay in the USA.
Oh wow, you guys have very
yeah.
And they've built it. They have a frickin' a dozen person, I don't know, with an 8 to 12 person team out there. I mean, it's insane. And they would
Yeah.
never take my call. It's just this. So that I say this to you because I can, from what you're just telling me now, you guys have to have the same type of like setup, except with the nonprofit. So this can grow to a 10-person offshore team, and you still have your local team.
So
But is that what you want to do? Is also.
Well, this is my second hesitation, and her video is actually helpful to me. If I bring on a bunch more tax clients, then my job hasn't changed. I still, instead of having 200 tax returns to review, now I have 400 tax returns to review. But you're saying that you have reviewers that are really good, and so then what Tiffany was saying is she's only looking at certain parts of the return instead of carefully reviewing the whole entire thing, which is in such depth that it's almost like preparing the return again. So, so like I said, it's like, great, I get a whole bunch of preparers. That's fantastic. I still have to review all those tax returns. I still have to communicate with the client and all that. So, do your employees communicate with the clients? It sounded like what Tiffany was saying they do sometimes.
Email. To answer your question directly, it's all up to you. And yes, we have many of our associates directly contacting, like video call conferencing. All right. But that's up to you. It's all up to you. Okay. In the beginning, it's new. Just work on everything on the back end side. And then as she said, have them draft emails. That was my recommendation for them years ago. And they did that. And then you build the confidence, you build the relationship. And then if you want, start assigning them clients. But yeah, as we're talking and everything, I mean, this is over the course of 2 years. Okay. And so it could move very quick when you're comfortable. It could move maybe every quarter you add somebody. Okay. So no matter what, it's a gradual.
Black Dog has been working with you for 2 years?
Had to be at least 2 years now. Yeah. Because I've been with the company for 4. And I remember I called them for my first year, my second year, and then they finally jumped on board. And then, well, I wasn't allowed. My first year was training because I'm not an accountant. So I had to train and learn what you guys do. And then the second year I called. Yeah. So it had to be at least 2 years now.
Wow. Okay.
How many Indian employees do they have now?
Of ours, it's 8 to 12.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 8 just tax, and then they have 4 others like team leads and bookkeepers. Yeah.
Really? So they grew a ton by utilizing your services.
But again, over 2 years. So,
No, I get that. Well, we're one of us.
We're here today because
one of us is over 60, and we're kind of going, do we really want to grow the practice at this? I don't know. I mean, well, that's the thing that we're kind of struggling with, but we
Right.
have a need, and
But
it
whatever
sounds
the
like
need
this
is now, that's where you start. And then
Exactly.
you could start thinking about that down the line. And you may add, those 5 tax clients a day in your review. It remains the same as it is now. And if you're happy with that, great.
So
And why? Because you have a whole offshore team. Right?
So let's do this. Why don't we go ahead and set up a virtual, we'd like to see the offices.
Yeah, sure.
You should set that up.
Mhm.
And then number 2, I believe you said that we need to complete a job interview form. Is that correct?
I have to go.
Yeah, I
Oh,
will.
you're meeting on all this up here.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
will send you an email recapping our call, and I'll outline what I
Thank
need.
you.
Yeah, yes, take care. Be good. I will send you a interview form link, and I'll get you over. But I don't know where you guys are going to start yet. I'll send you the instructions of what I need to get that started. So look for an email in the next 20 minutes, and
Sure.
I'll outline everything. And then I will confirm what's today, Friday. So
Okay.
Monday, anytime between 8 and noon work or
Sure.
okay. So I'll get that on the schedule for Monday. And then, yeah, I'm your point of contact. Just let me know with any other questions. I'll be your resource and I'll get this set up for Monday. All right.
It's a brave new world.
It's a lot of fun. Believe me, I wouldn't be here for 4 years if I wasn't having fun with what I do.
Yeah,
So,
well, like I said,
I'm a big believer in this concept.
The last question, and I'll let you jet. With respect to CPAs, smaller firms like myself and clients of, their clients, did they have any kind of sensitivity, pushback, saying, what are you doing, leaving because, wait a minute, I've always had my return done in the United States, gosh darn it, why are you giving it over to those in India? I can just hear that. It's kind of like wearing their MAGA hat. I'm going, guys, come on, man, it's just a return. Give me a break.
Understood. Yeah, it's not as bad as you think. Juan, will you lose clients? Probably. Will it be your entire clientele base? Absolutely not. And the thing is that you're going to get a lot of indifference is what we see. Indifference meaning they have no idea why you're doing it, what's going on. So that's not an automatic no, nor is it an automatic yes. It's give me information. So that's opportune for you to say, acknowledge it. Like, yeah, no, this is something new, brave new world, like you said. But I can't find anybody locally. So what am I supposed to do? Close down shop? I love what I do. No, we're looking and doing due diligence. And you told me before the call of everything you did, which is brilliant, awesome. So that's what you tell your client. They can look us up, right? And then you explain that you're still going to speak with me. They are taking care of the back office. Our structure is remaining the same. Everything's going to be the same. And then the clients that start getting that information, they're like, okay, so it's acknowledging it, explaining the rationale and the value behind it, right? Not raising your price. You're still going to call me. It's fine. Your return is going to be done by somebody else. That's it. Can't find anybody else here to do it. So unless you want to do it. So
and you've got more calls because there's more firms like me where they don't have access. I mean,
they can't find anything. Yeah.
Can't get people to do this.
It's
30
weird.
years ago, I mean, it's weird. I mean, people were, when I got hired by Ernst & Young, I mean, everybody wanted that job. And,
it was cool to be an accountant then. It's not so cool now to be an accountant.
I mean,
that's a big shift.
I made $21,000 my very first year and worked, wouldn't say like a slave, but all right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'll look forward to getting the email and the follow-up virtual thing. Anything else? Any questions that I haven't asked or comments that I need to know?
No, you did your homework, which I could tell, so that's good. And that's why we have. The idea is full transparency. We have everything out there. I'll book the virtual tour for Monday. I'll get you the email. We'll go from there. We'll stay in contact. Okay.
Peace out, man. Take care.
All right. Have a good
Thanks,
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.